Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine stepping back in time over 200 years ago. No cars, no electricity, no smartphones, just the sound of a rooster at dawn, the creaking of a wooden wagon, and families living in small villages scattered across the American countryside. This was life in the 1800s. In the early 1800s, most Americans did not live in large cities. Instead, they lived in small villages and farming communities where life was simple but demanding. Villages were usually built around a church, a schoolhouse, and a handful of wooden homes. Dirt roads connected neighbors, and beyond the homes stretched miles of farmland, forests, and rivers. A typical morning began at sunrise. The crow of roosters mixed with the ringing of church bells, signaling the start of a busy day. Families woke early. Men prepared for long hours in the fields, tending crops or chopping wood, while women cooked meals over open fires, washed clothes by hand, and cared for children. Inside the log cabins, warmth came not from heaters, but from a single fireplace that glowed at the heart of the home. Children were not spared from work. Even at a young age, they carried water, fed animals, gathered firewood, and helped their parents in farming. Schooling was important, but schools were small, sometimes only one room with one teacher teaching all ages together. Books were rare, so children often learned through Bible readings, storytelling, and practical lessons in farming and household chores. Life in these villages was slow but deeply connected to the land. People grew their own food, corn, beans, wheat, and vegetables. They raised chickens, cows, and horses, not just for survival, but for trade. The village market was the center of activity, where neighbors exchanged goods, gossip, and news from distant towns. Travel was limited and slow. If you wanted to visit another town, you walked, rode on horseback, or traveled in a horse-drawn wagon. A trip that takes us an hour by car today could take an entire day back then. But despite the hardships, there was joy. Villagers gathered in the evenings to share stories by candlelight, sing folk songs, and play instruments like fiddles and flutes. Festivals brought people together with dancing, laughter, and traditional games. In a world without technology, community was entertainment, and human connection was the greatest treasure. Yet life was never easy. Harsh winters tested survival, with families relying on firewood and preserved food. Illnesses were dangerous, with little medical help available. Still, resilience was the hallmark of these early Americans. They endured, they built, and they laid the foundations of the America we know today. Life in American villages during the 1800s may seem hard by today's standards, but it was a life filled with purpose, community, and a deep bond with nature. It was a time when neighbors were family, survival depended on hard work, and every sunrise brought a new chance to build a future. This was the heartbeat of early America, the simple village life that shaped a nation.